Hi, this is Angie with Bremer County Conservation, and today I'm going to start off outside and we're going to light our charcoal chimney. So I'm going to take my newspaper and crumple it up. I cheated and I already have some inside of there, and we're going to put that down. Oop, it's falling out of there. Okay, then we take our matches and we're going to light that paper underneath. We want to also make sure, like I had it a little tipped up here, we want to stuff it under so it's nice and flat, doesn't tip over. I have enough coals that I will be doing 2 different dishes in 2 different Dutch ovens. So I will have enough coals in this chimney for those 2 Dutch ovens. We're starting that newspaper on fire on both sides. You can see that smoke kind of coming through there already. It's a very windy day out here. The matches are not saying what.
Ooh, there's flames on this side.
Okay, perfect. We're just going to go with that. We're going to let those charcoals get nice and hot, and we're going to go back inside and start cooking. Today I am here to make monkey bread, and it is definitely one of my family's favorites. I'm actually not a huge fan of monkey bread. However, this is, when I go camping with people, this is what they request me to make. So this is a recipe that you can use in the Dutch oven, but you can also take it home and use it in your oven. My mother-in-law now, this is her only monkey bread recipe that she makes with her house. Dutch oven, and I am definitely going to be lining it with our foil. This is a lot deeper one, which works really well for monkey bread. I always learn you go heavy on the tin foil because that will save you in the long run of cleaning up. Okay, so you want to have that nice and flat in there so it doesn't get mixed in with any of your food. And then we are going to use Pam cooking spray and give it a good healthy spraying. Okay, so when I go camping, I like to do a lot of the prep work before we go anywhere. So like if I'm cooking with meat, I like to pre-cook that at my house so I make sure that I'm not feeding my family like raw hamburger or anything like that. So I actually always pre-measure my ingredients in different containers that I take with me. So I have already mixed my cinnamon and sugar at home, put it in a Ziploc baggie to take with me camping because that's the easiest way. And then you get to have the fun of popping these things open. I'm a little sister, and I always had to pop these open for my sister when I was growing up. She's terrified of them. Found out my niece is terrified of them. She throws them on the floor to pop them open. Crazy. Okay. So now what we do, we're going to take each of these, and we will, once again, if you're camping, I'm just going to rip them open because that is the easiest. I tear them into 4s. And I drop them right into my cinnamon and sugar. And then I am going to be shaking those up as I make them, pull them out, shake them off a little bit, pull them out, and just drop them in the pan. Now, we are going to fast forward this process because you don't want to stay here and watch me break open all of these. So we'll fast forward to the finished product. So we went through those 4 biscuits and broke them apart, mixed them up, and put them in our pan. Now we have cook and serve butterscotch pudding that all we do, very simply, just sprinkle over the top of it. Now, if you notice in the recipe, it actually says that we need to melt our stick of butter and mix that with our brown sugar and our cinnamon that I pre-measured at home before I went camping. However, when I'm cooking with a Dutch oven and I'm at the campsite, I don't have a great way to melt that butter and brown sugar together. So a lot of times what I do is I just kind of sprinkle it over the top. It has my cinnamon mixed in with it too. Sprinkle it in. This great thing to have the kids join you in. Make sure you don't have any big chunks or anything like that. Sprinkle that in, and then I'll take my butter and I will just kind of chop that up and just kind of place it on top of there. So in theory, it gets all mixed up anyway, cooking. You improvise, right, Miss Heather?
Right.
One thing I did learn a long time ago. So I received a Dutch oven as a wedding present. I burnt the first like gazillion things I tried to ever try, and then I just gave up on it, put it away, thought, well, this is a present I'm never going to use again. But then I found this really handy chart that we are going to share with you, that we have shared with you this week, and that chart kind of told me like how many coals to put on top, how many coals to put on the bottom to get that 350-degree temperature that I want it to cook at. And since then, I've never burnt anything. So if you burn any of these items this week, do not get discouraged. Try again, and that will be great. Okay, so it is ready to go. We're going to put the lid on, head outside, and go put our coals on. We're going to put 8 coals for our 12-inch Dutch oven on the bottom. We have placed them in a circle. We're going to set that Dutch oven right on top of there. There are legs underneath it, so it keeps the air movement underneath it. Adjust it up just a little bit. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to put 17 on the top. I'm going to make sure that is on nice and straight. 17 more coals on the top. Each coal gives out about 25 degrees worth of temperature, worth of heat out of them. But remember, you know, heat's escaping off the top of them all over. So you want to make sure that it is cooking from the inside, from the top and the bottom. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Woo! Okay, now it's going to take about 45 minutes for this to cook. However, I come out about every 15 minutes and I rotate. I'll pick up the handle, I'll rotate the whole entire pan, and then I also rotate the lid in the opposite direction. So that way, with bread, it's a little bit harder to cook and you don't want it doughy in the middle or anything like that. And some coals can be hotter than others, so I always like to do that rotation. Okay, we'll check back in. Our monkey bread should be done. It cooked for at 350 for 45 minutes. Oh my goodness, look at that. Delicious. My family will be very excited to eat that later today. So the next dish that I am going to do is my triple corn casserole. One thing that I have found that's really super helpful, so I have taken all of my Dutch oven recipes, that table that we talk about with what temperature we want to get our ovens to be. I laminated all of them, and then like especially my favorite recipes and stuff, I put little stars in and stuff. But this way, it's easy for me to take. Camping, you're kind of dirty, and you might be a little bit more of a messy cook. I'm a messy cook in my regular kitchen, but I like to have this so then I can easily wash it off when I come home from camping. Now, this time I'm gonna actually use a 10-inch, and this is my personal Dutch oven from home. And if you can tell, it's been used a lot. It needs a little TLC. So later on this week, we're gonna actually show a video on how to work on these Dutch ovens and get them to be looking nice and new again. If you can tell, a little bit of my side here is starting to kind of get rusty and stuff, so I definitely want to take care of this before I put it away for the winter. But once again, you can still use it during the winter. You tend to use it more during the summertime when we were camping. So this next recipe, super easy, but once again, I want to go ahead and line it with my tin foil. I did accidentally make a little hole, so I am going to use a little bit more tin foil just to make sure that that does not get mixed up with my food. So I'll line that bottom once again. Now this recipe, super easy. I already went ahead and I drained my corn. So we're going to open this can up here. We're using a camping can opener, which was not the greatest. Always have a quality can opener. Okay, we dump that in. We're gonna rinse that out for recycling later. Same with that. We're gonna have a can of sweet corn, cream corn. Let's scrape that out. Then our recipe calls for 1 cup of sour cream. I just happen to have sour cream at my house that there was about 1 cup left, so I just brought that whole entire container with me. Plop that right in. Now that can get washed. We're gonna go with the recycling. Gonna just gently mix it up here. And up a little bit, I'm gonna continue to add my ingredients. This is not gluten-free friendly. So this dish I am actually going to be making to take home to my family. It's one of their favorite recipes. We use a Jiffy cornbread muffin mix. I also use this recipe, same exact recipe, and I change it up, or I don't change it up, but I just bake it in my oven during the winter months because this is a staple to our family. They definitely like eating their corn this way. Mix that up a little bit. Okay, and we have an egg. Crack that egg inside. Mix that up. Being careful that I do not tear my paper, my aluminum foil there. Make sure you get that egg good and mixed up in your casserole. Now, if you were in Minnesota, you'd call this a hot dish. I have family that live in Minnesota. My husband's from Minnesota, and they would call this a hot dish. Okay, now it does call for melted butter. However, once again, I'm camping. I don't have time or a really easy way to be able to do that. So I just go ahead and I slice little pieces off and drop it in to the corn casserole. Here is my corn casserole. It's ready to have the lid thrown on and taken out to the coals. We have coals on the bottom again. I'm gonna set our oven right over the top of it. And then we're gonna work on getting our coals on top of there. So we do About 7 on the bottom. It also kind of depends how hot your coals are. Some of those coals are kind of tiny, so we might throw in a couple extra. These are brand new coals on top here that we're throwing. So we need 14 on the top. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. 10, 11. 12. 13. And we'll scoot one over, put there 14. Okay, now we let it cook. To check on our corn casserole, I just poke it. It's very buttery on the top. Whew. It is pretty gooey inside, so I'm gonna say that it needs to cook for a little bit longer. Maybe our coals on the bottom weren't the warmest, so we just need to improvise and wait a little longer. Here is our corn casserole. It looks nice and like cornbread inside of there. Ooh, it looks buttery too. That looks delicious. I can't wait to try it.